That's, yeah, let me just say something really quick. I was told I really needed to move to LA, and when My Drunk Kitchen first started happening, woo!
Yeah, LA.
Oh man, focus, Hannah. When My Drunk Kitchen first started happening, I was called into a lot of traditional media meetings. It was like Food Network, Bravo, E, all these networks, and simultaneously I also was going to VidCon. And it was really funny because the traditional media forums were like, oh man, you have a really popular idea. Can we own it and change it? You know? And on the other side of that coin, I was going to VidCon, you know, introducing myself to people who were huge. I'm not gonna name any names, but I distinctly remember meeting this one YouTuber going, oh, hi, my name is Hannah, what's your name? And he's like, oh, it's the same as on my channel. And I was like, oh, that's lovely, what's your channel? And he was like #2 at that time. Oh, you could probably figure it out. Anyway, long story short.
What does his name rhyme with?
I have no idea. Long story short, yes, traditional media is absolutely looking for a way to capitalize on these individual entertainment empires. Whether or not that will succeed, time will tell. Somebody else.
Not really. Like, I really like the work that I'm doing in marketing, and so if I can work in marketing in television and film somehow, but yeah, my background before doing YouTube was working as an aide to a congressman for 3 years, so
you did wear those outfits before.
I actually have 5 suits, so, but yeah, I'm kind of happy to be back behind the scenes working in things than being in front of the camera. It was kind of a weird thing I fell into.
Work premiere.
Oh, I'm the new Michael Scott on The Office. Can't be any worse than the current one.
On that topic, I think that in general, I've also, similar to what Hannah was talking about, there is sort of like a bitterness, like a sour puss face when you talk to somebody about making that transition to whether it's film or television, because I think on YouTube it is very Wild West, even though you can monetize your content quite well. I mean, it's funny that I think in general, and of course there are lots of buzzwords and there are organic and things such as that, but in general, there's a level of honesty, like there's a level of just like, this is how I'm feeling, that's not present with a lot of, like if I was to be a host, they'd be like, read this teleprompter. I'd be like, my stomach hurts. Like that's all I'm thinking in my head. Like, and that's something that you don't convey. That's something that everyone's, I think on YouTube, just waiting for you to just say what you're thinking. They're looking forward to that honesty, and I think that that's something that you're not going to get. Like if I was supposed to, let's say I was hosting for G4, they would be like, put that shirt on and say this or else you're fired. Like I can't be like, my tummy hurts. Like I can't do that. Like it's not part of the equation. And I think it is, until there's a way to figure out how to integrate that honesty with objectives and scripts, I don't think it's ready. And when it is, hopefully I can transition. But for the most part, I don't think it's ready yet.
Yeah, same here. On YouTube you can do whatever you want. You can make a video with cups if you want to. I've done crazy videos that don't work on television and film. But of course, I think we're all open to working with the right person, with the right network or whatever. But for now, I think YouTube is the best thing that exists for a creator because there's that one-on-one connection. I tell people, you can come to my videos and you can leave a comment and you can say, hey, you should make a video doing this, and I'll consider it. You can't go to the creators of House and say, hey, House should find someone who has lupus, or something. I don't know. You can't do that. Or maybe there's in house@gmail.com or something. I don't know.
Aging.
It's different. There are two different things that you can do. You can either go the Simpsons route where you can grow with your audience and change your content to appease to the one specific audience that grows with you and remembers you, or you can stay the same forever. Or, I don't know, something like a kids show like The Wiggles or Blue's Clues. It's like you can always be catering to that constantly new crowd. I try to appease everyone, so I get reaction videos of babies watching my videos and they're laughing, and then old people come up to me and say, your videos are great, and my knee hurts.
You can make music with their knee crack, probably.
I can try.
That sounded really weird. And you guys, do you have any response to that in terms of evolving with your audience?
Well, I mean, people keep making more kids, so that part I mean, there's always like more people in the same age group, but there's also a lot more people on the other end of the spectrum that are watching stuff now. And I don't make videos myself, but I see my mom sending me a video saying, check it out. And it's like not Antoine Dodson. It's something legit. It's not just a viral video. She's like, look, I built this thing in the house based on this video or something like that. So I think it really is expanding, and I think that people are filling in the gaps. I mean, I look at all the different networks, and they've got all these verticals that some of them, it's for content that didn't exist on YouTube 2 years ago. So I think people are filling in the gaps on as far as the content goes and on the audience.
Definitely.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's a lot more niche audiences now than there ever was before. I think that's the most exciting part about how YouTube's blown up, is that there's a substantial audience for pretty much any kind of video. But yeah, it is weird to think about kids growing up watching your videos. I was up in Sacramento recently with Ian and Anthony, who are the channel Smosh, and we were out at this dinner, and this kid, like, not kid, but like 19, 20-year-old kid, like, came up to them, and he's like, I've been watching you, I grew up watching your videos. And they were so freaked out by it, but it's true. I mean, they've been making it for 5 so years now, so it would make, sense that there's kids that have grown up watching their stuff, and I don't know, it's weird to see if they'll keep watching or not.
I'm very excited about the prospect of the audience getting older, and would like to take this moment to actually announce my campaign for presidency in the year 2030. Thank you so much for your support.
Wow, that is breaking news.
I know.
Everyone, exclusive tweets happening right now.
I would love to tell you guys how I don't make that much money. I am just dying to say that, because I get so much on the internet. It's like, you must make $1 million by now, or you must make $100,000 a year by now. And I'm like, what are you thinking? No, I don't. I'm new. Not to say that there aren't people who are making those numbers, but not every quote unquote YouTuber that's doing well is making crazy money. It's. How much do you? Oh, yeah, I will. How much do you make?
Are you a journalist?
How much do you make a year?
No, that's not about me. Oh. Kevin,
Here's the thing. There's a mathematical formula that just about anybody can use to figure out what just about anybody on YouTube is making, but there's a lot of stuff that goes into that, and since these guys all make money directly from YouTube views, I'll just like cover a couple bases here. That is pre-tax money. That is every single expense money. It's a contractor thing. There's no perks. There's no benefits. There are anti-perks and anti-benefits, like I know who you are and stuff like that. But nobody's going to answer that question, even though it is a really interesting one. And before I knew anything about this stuff, I was very, very interested in it. It's just everybody has to kind of take it as like their own person, and it just feels like a question they shouldn't answer for the most part.
It really depends upon who you're working with, what network you're working with. And I can't speak for what everyone, the contracts are all going to be very different. And to be perfectly frank, it's not that I'm scared to tell you how much money I'm making, but if I was to say, this is my contract, this is what I'm earning, then what happens when my contract's up? Everybody already has information, then it's not competitive. I'm showing you my hand. I'm saying, it is confidential as well. I don't want to get sued, and that's totally reasonable. And I think that in general, when you enter the space a little bit more, and when you do talk to people, and you are in a position where you're able to say, okay, let's discuss the financial terms of what I'm doing. And it really just depends. It really depends on what your deal is, and you may be very surprised to find, that some people are not maybe earning as much money as you think they may earn. And this is the problem I think I encountered when I did the interview for CNN. We did the whole thing. It was great. I felt that it went really well. And then the last thing was, my editor really wants to know what you're earning, what sort of revenue you're generating. And it's hard because, for myself personally, it's like I started YouTube with no hope of anything. I did not want to be an actor. I did not want to be a host. If you go watch my first video, it's like, hello, my name, we're going to use, like, it's very awkward. And it's like, and I see this, YouTube is a multifaceted conversation, and I look at it as something that is beyond just revenue. And it's almost, and I understand they're very valid questions, but I almost feel insulted because I know that the money is important. I know the money drives everything. I get that. I would hope that it would be something more. And when I see a film like this, and beyond just Dan being accomplished and being able to put something together, I would hope that it means something more. I would hope, because I was in the very back getting all teary-eyed, and it means something to me. It means something very powerful because similar to Live Lava Live, it's like it changes you. And I know that it's very hard because it's extremely self-serving. It's extremely self-serving to sit up here and be like, look at us, we did something great. But ultimately, when it comes down to it, money is important, and the time will come. If you have a product that people are interested in, that discussion will happen, whether you're with Machinima or Maker or IGN or whoever it may be. Like, that time will come, and I don't think that the conversation should start with the money. It should start with, what do I love to do, and how do I continue doing that?
And it's also a matter of, someone like me, like I have, higher end cameras and I have assistants and things like that. So I have considerable expenses on the studio and things like that. So I'm reinvesting a lot of it back in to YouTube to keep doing what I'm doing and doing a better job at what I'm doing. So it's and it kind of feels like, if you sit down with David Fincher to talk about The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, it's like, all right, so how much money did you get to make that movie? It's not the first question that you ask. So it's kind of like that.
When Dan first filmed me, it was right at the beginning. I think like the day he was filming me was right when I was trying to figure out what was going on, because it was a weird thing where I was super obsessed with YouTube and was a total fanboy and like looked up these YouTubers as idols. And then through random happenstance and coincidence, I found myself living with Ray William Johnson, who, if anyone doesn't know, is like #1 on YouTube in subscribers and like 1 billion video views now or something total, something ridiculous like that. And so it was more just like I was his like original manager and editor, and so I got all these spillover subscribers. And this was like, YouTube changes. It used to change like every year, and now it changes like every 2 months. It's so fast moving, where like so you could work with someone big or get a push from someone big and get a lot of subscribers, and it would be okay, and you'd get lots of video views and things like that. But his fans of viral video content had no interest in YouTube news, which as like just objectively is a very niched concept. I was like fortunate enough from having contacts through him with other people. I worked on the Pepsi Refresh Project web series back in 2010 and have had different little like contracting works and hosting gigs and things like that that have helped along. But it was one of those things where every YouTuber, Hannah had said something earlier, like every YouTuber is the fear of it's not going to work out. And it's not so much a fear of it's not going to work out, but it's like, what do you do next? Because like, went into politics, and like after working in that, and moving out to DC, all the jobs kind of dried up. So what do? You move up in New York with Ray William Johnson and do YouTube, and it's like, what do I do here? Well, what I did for 3 years was like immerse myself, make it so that I knew the most about YouTube over anybody, and transition that into a job that would hopefully be a successful career that I can do, for 30, 40 years. So like that was, very much obviously a different story. When he was filming me, I was, still doing it daily, and Maker Studios supported me hugely. Like they took a beating producing my show, so they're to very much give them credit on that one for helping me for so long. But it just kind of was a natural transition where YouTube doesn't have to be the end all be all. You don't have to be creative and get big on YouTube, and that's all you can do with the rest of your life. You're now big on YouTube, and you're a YouTube celebrity, and that's what defines you for forever and ever. And I think that people like Dan and myself, there'll come a time to tell that story of this. Look at all these things I learned on YouTube and how I was able to transition it into a traditional medium or job, and where I'm doing things now. But I don't know. I really loved the documentary the way it was.